since there's so much downtime, I think it just gives us more freedom to create and just more more time. But I think it's challenging because I'm so used to collaborating with people, and I'm so used to like working with other songwriters and artists, and to not be able to do that and to just be isolated to my room by myself is like a little bit of a challenge, I would say, if there was a challenge to songwriting.
Yeah, I agree. I think something too, I get a lot of my inspiration from things that happen to me in my life. And sitting in your room, there's not a lot. I don't have any boys to break my heart. You feel me? No, I'm just kidding. I'm totally kidding.
I do.
No. So I just feel like, songwriting is so emotional. And so I've done a lot of journaling and kind of like going back to things, it's kind of been cool. It's been a little counseling session for myself to be able to connect to things that happen and put them in my music.
Right. I mean, that makes sense for sure. And Justin, would love to know how like digital marketing and sports partnerships, like what do they look like in music?
So for me on the digital side of things, it's a lot of like social strategy, content creation, influencer marketing, internet advertising, like pretty much the whole gamut of like all the internet stuff. And then on the sports partnership side, it was kind of a niche I created for myself, working with a ton of like athletes in general. So not the traditional like, oh, we're going to get a song on a commercial in the NBA finals. It's more so focused on like the social side of things. So companies like Bleacher Report, over time, figuring out ways to integrate our music and our artists into their content.
That's really cool. Thank you for explaining that a little bit more. And then for Melissa and Justin, you guys are working with artists all the time. What advice are you giving to those who, let's say, released new music and like singles or albums at the beginning of the year and like right now don't have anything to release? So how are you kind of advising them to stay relevant and connected to their fans?
Yeah, I mean, there's always ways to take your key piece of content and really shed a new light on it. So, we have artists who are creating acoustic versions of music that they released prior. We have artists who are developing a, behind the song or behind the album type of series. And it's just reimagining that content. So the artwork, finding new ways to specialize it and just create compelling new pieces of content to push on your socials. I think that's still important. You don't want to abandon a release just because you can't get out there and promote it and tour on it. So there's ways to keep focusing on it, just making sure it's super creative.
Yeah, I agree. Just finding different ways to create that content, whether it's like a hip hop artist who's cool in like the anime space, so figuring out an animated piece to put together. We have a group who put out a song, Shoreline Mafia, and usually they shoot music videos and their videos do really well, but they're not able to get together right now. So we did an animated music video for that. And then aside from like just the music part of it, like if there's an artist who's a fan of video games, like get them on Twitch and get them interacting with fans on there and find different ways to just like connect with the fans. It's not just like strictly music based.
And would you guys have any, I suppose, like tips for people who aren't as established, but are still trying to stay relevant and connected right now?
Honestly, like I'd say like put out music and reach out to people who you think are good to collaborate with, whether that's like other artists or like content creators who you're a fan of, whether it's animator, if you like sports, like somebody who puts together dope highlights, and really just stay active. Because at the end of the day, like there's nothing else going on right now.
Absolutely.
Yeah, if you compile a list of either, talent social accounts that you really like, or people that, aim high, people that you really, really would love to collaborate with, create that list, go back through it, see who has contact information available, and just reach out. There's no harm in doing that right now. And then the second part of that too is just making sure the community management is still very strong and that you're engaging with your fans online, because if you're just putting content out there and not having follow-up conversations, then it has a stronger potential to die off quicker. So you just want to make sure you're up there every day talking to people, liking their posts and engaging with them.
Yeah, and just to add on that too, like that's a great point. Like at the very beginning for artists who are just coming up, that's like the best way to make sticky fans. So whether it's like, oh, thank you for checking out my song, like here's a little 30-second snippet of like what I'm putting out next, like what do you think of this or whatever. And then also like we always want to create stuff that seems so polished and make everybody look so cool and whatever. But everybody's stuck inside right now. Like there's no glamorous shit going on. Like don't be afraid to be a little vulnerable, put up that funny video. Like if you're in the kitchen with your mom, like making food, like post that up, and just kind of like let a little bit of yourself shine through.
I actually want to piggyback off of that because I think that is, as an artist, I think we get so in our heads about that, about everything looking perfect or our brand or whatever. And that's actually what I've seen during quarantine is I posted on Cinco de Mayo, I posted all these videos of me just acting a fool. One was in my kitchen, like just being me, just like letting my personality shine through. And so many more fans, I feel like, even came to my page and connected with me just because they were like, oh, she's a real person. Like she's weird. You know what I mean? Like she cooks in the kitchen with her mom. Like, and I feel like that's what fans want to see. We think fans want to see the perfect music video or the perfect whatever, but it's like they really just want to see you for who you really are. Yeah. So I love that.
I totally agree too. I mean, it's crazy because I was going through kind of a hard time, I think last week and the week before that, emotionally. And then I decided to post, I was doing a cover and I started crying and I was just super emotional, but I actually put it up anyway. And I wrote a caption that was kind of just explaining that everybody's human and everybody's going through things. And I found that being vulnerable, even though it was scary, because I'm so used to like having a full face and lashes and like having everything done, being vulnerable actually allowed me to connect with a lot of people. And I got a lot of messages that were really sweet where people were really appreciative of that. So I agree.
No, I think that's great. And I think that's like something I guess we talked to you guys about too, is like the community that you're building is so important. So it's really like vital that you are connecting with them and letting them see you, like the real you as well.